Oh, we're gonna have a good show.
Nylon.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Nylon, baby.
That's gotta be in there.
Yeah, can it be the start?
Yeah. All right. Welcome back to the Relay Throw presented by Center Field. I am your host, Aidan Lavin, back here with Danny Destler and Jimmy Tsiantoulas. Today we're going to be talking about lacrosse, as they are the two lacrosse beat writers, Danny covering the men's lacrosse beat and Jimmy covering the women's lacrosse beat. Before we get into that, though, Danny, huge Giants fan, New York Football Giants. Jimmy, huge Patriots fan. And as we're recording, today is Wednesday, the week before the Super Bowl, and I myself am a 49ers fan. So let's chop it up a little bit, talk about our thoughts heading into the Super Bowl and predictions.
Yeah, I'm very much anti-Chiefs. I have always been anti-Chiefs because they have had such a rivalry with the Patriots in Brady's last couple of playing years. Mm-hmm. So now that he's gone and the Patriots are a completely new team, I've still very much been every other team against the Chiefs. So I'm riding with the 49ers. I was riding with whoever came out of the NFC. So yeah, that just so happens to be the 49ers.
Yeah, you got to make sure that Tom Brady's legacy stays in check. Mahomes
You're absolutely
can't win
right.
Too many rings, otherwise Brady's diminished.
I am also on the 49ers train.
Let's go.
I think they're going to win.
This is a good group
31-28.
Oh.
Last second field goal.
Oh.
Okay.
I think.
By the rookie?
Yeah.
Even
Jake
though
Moody?
He struggled?
Yeah.
Okay. I love it.
A last second field goal.
I'd rather it not be close, but I feel like that adrenaline rush, if it is close and there's a game-winning field goal, would be absolutely insane. So
I have a question for you, Aidan.
Yeah, what's up?
Over, under 1.5 things broken in your house in the span of the Super Bowl.
I'm going to be watching it in my friend's house, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to break stuff, being that it's not my house. But if it was my house, I would say over. But instead, I mean, like, the Lions game was just pitiful in the first half, and I was very upset. I don't think I actually really said anything. Things get broken when things are going well for me. I just go crazy and get nuts when things are going well, but when things are going poorly, I just kind of put my hood over my head, get it really tight so that you could barely see my face, and just like sit there in sadness and depression.
You lock in though.
Oh, I'm always locked in.
Always.
Yeah. And if the game's going poorly, then I might leave and watch it by myself at my house. Depending on how the rest of the guests there are acting towards me. If they're trying to get under my skin, then I'm out.
Are they all root for the Chiefs here?
I have no idea. I don't know who they're rooting for. Hopefully they'll be nice to me and root with me, but I already had one of my housemates saying that he might bet on the Chiefs, and I was like, what is your deal? Like, do you know who I am?
Yeah,
so, yeah.
I got a 10 parlay for the Super Bowl already put together. So
Really?
Oh,
You're
sure.
cooking?
I'm cooking.
That's awesome.
I'm sure that'll hit. No problem. As long as McCaffrey 2 touchdowns is in there, I think basically you're good to go.
He has anytime touchdown scorer.
Okay.
He's like minus 2.7, something.
I know.
Yeah, which is hilarious, but I mean he's that good.
He used to be minus 3 something towards the end of the regular
Nuts.
season.
Yeah, I was talking about it earlier. I think the 49ers should win the game. I mean, they're a better team than they were in the previous Super Bowl, and I think the Chiefs, obviously their defense got better, but it wasn't the defense that was that beat the 49ers in that Super Bowl. It was the offense that came alive late, and I think the offense, obviously there's no Tyreek Hill, and it's really only Travis Kelce, a little bit of Pacheco and Rashee Rice, but other than that, it's Mahomes and Kelce, so if you can contain him, and the run defense has to step up. It was not good against the Lions. I know that. But
yeah, that's my only concern about the Niners is that run defense. But, hey, I mean, the Lions have a superb offensive line with 2 premier running backs. So, I mean, it's a completely different – it's completely switched up with the Chiefs. I mean, like, their offensive line is pretty banged up, and they're not that great. Pacheco's a great running back, but they don't have, like, a good 1-2 punch combo. So – as long as the 49ers...
CEH, bro. Don't disrespect.
CEH.
Yeah. It's a... isn't it a revenge game? I'm pretty sure. Is that accurate? No. I can't remember. I thought No, he wasn't.
No.
But, yeah, it should be fun, hopefully. I mean, if you don't see me as a host, then... What'd you say earlier?
What? We're never going to see Aidan again if the 49ers lose.
And I'll be where?
Somewhere. Hiding.
Marist student found unresponsive in the Hudson River after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, hopefully not. I mean, for better or for worse, I guess, but we'll see. So, yeah, I've got Jimmy, Danny, thank you guys for joining me. And obviously the Super Bowl is coming up, but also lacrosse season is starting. We're recording on Wednesday. releasing on either Thursday or Friday of this week, and that is when the women's team plays. They play on Friday, and the men's team plays on Saturday. So, how are you guys feeling going into the lacrosse season?
Yeah, I'll take this one off. I mean, I'm pretty hopeful. I mean, all things considered, this team finished last in the conference the past 2 seasons. They haven't made the tournament since 2021. But this team is very, very talented. I mean, Carrie Gutenberger is just a firecracker on that offense. She scored 51 goals. She was all MAAC first team. She was just chosen to the all MAAC preseason team with the preseason poll getting released today, which they have them ranked 9 out of 10 teams, which, I mean, I expected that. But, I mean, look, you have new head coach coming in. You have some, I would say, a lot of returning talent. It's all like the heavy hitters are coming back. And then you also have some pretty exciting young players. I mean, I had the chance to talk to some of the players and Coach Keith yesterday, and a lot of them mentioned that Greta Gavoni, freshman attacker out of New Hampshire, she has been impressing in practice so far. She's very quick with her stick handle. She gets great shots, great looks. So, I mean, be on the lookout for that. But this team, there are definitely some question marks. I mean, only time will tell what we can expect to see as the season progresses. I mean, their non-conference schedule is pretty tough. I won't lie. I mean, they go out all the way to Oregon this year, playing some heavy hitter Pac-12 teams. So I mean,
They're an okay team.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
hey, I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful for this.
We'll get
season.
into more detail of everything going on with the women's team and the men's team. But I think for you to be able to cover this beat, and lacrosse is a sport that you thoroughly enjoy, I think it's exciting for you. And then, Danny, how are you feeling? You're going into your 3rd season as the beat writer, and then you also have some exciting news that I'll let you talk about for the women's side.
Some breaking news, Danny.
It's not really breaking, but I'm probably the most hopeful beat writer at center field besides Aidan, who's a softball beat writer, because the men's team just won the MAAC tournament last year. They were ranked 2nd in the MAAC poll this season, but the biggest question mark for them is their goal scoring. They lost 3 out of their top 4 goal scorers from last season due to graduation, and they need their younger guys to step up. I'll get into more detail later, but a big message from Coach Wilkinson this offseason was that they need their younger guys to step up, and I think that they'll be just fine stepping up this year.
And then on the women's side, what are you doing there?
It looks like I'm going to be color commentating for the women's lacrosse team with alongside Brandon Ross for 4 games out of the year. I work in the city, so I can't make the Friday games.
Big shot.
Yeah, but so I can't make the Friday games. But I was just talking to someone in athletics, and I'm really excited for the opportunity
What
to
a dog.
expand my resume a little more.
Woof woof.
Yeah, all right. So now we'll get into the nitty-gritty. First, we'll recap the last season of both the men's and women's teams. For the men's team, as you mentioned, they're the reigning MAAC champions. They finished 10-8 with a 6-3 conference record, and they were the 3 seed going into the tournament. Last year, when you were covering them, what were your expectations heading into the tournament?
The same expectations that I have this season for the team. I feel like they caught fire in their last 3 or 4 games. They scored like 26 goals against Quinnipiac. It was just a goal scoring spree.
Yep.
But they scored 19 in the semifinal and then 12, which is a normal a goal scoring total in the final. And they really caught fire, and their defense led to I think there were like 25 total goals in the whole postseason. Like, they played really solid. So I had the same expectations I had for last season for this season.
Yeah, speaking on the Quinnipiac victory in the first round, I have here it was 29-19,
29.
And that was the most goals in Marist lacrosse history. Yep. What was your reaction after seeing all those goals being scored?
I remember like the day, like it was yesterday. It was pouring rain. Like, It was just a horrible game. At the start of it, I went in not knowing who's going to win because Quinnipiac has had their number. I mean, they're their biggest rival. But I kept writing. I was like, this is like 20-plus goals at the end of like the 3rd quarter. Like, how many are they going to score?
Yeah, that's crazy.
And they ended up scoring 29, which is just an absurd goal total.
And then in the second round, they beat Mount St. Mary's 19-7 pretty handily. But Daniel O'Meara had a career-high 19 saves in that game, and then once you were one game away from winning it all, not you personally,
Yeah.
but I mean, you cover the team. So, what were the feelings being that close to being MAAC champions?
I thought it was awesome. I actually have a pretty funny story. I was on my way to my club lacrosse championship,
Yep.
and I wrote
No
the
big
first
deal.
half on the bus, and Luke finished the whole game for me. So I didn't know what the score was until about halftime in my game.
Right.
So no, it was just a really cool sight seeing them. I know how hard they have worked and how hard I've worked. So I
Yeah.
was glad to see a championship. come out of that.
Definitely. What was the atmosphere after they did win the championship game in a 12-7 victory against Siena? What was the atmosphere during and then after the game?
The atmosphere was absolutely awesome. I was watching the game highlights on my phone at the end, and I just saw all of them with their shirts on, the MAAC championship shirts on, and they all were rushing to the crowd, and there was a lot of Marist people that went.
Yeah.
Like it was like 60% of like the Marist fans and families. I was gonna go, but my club lacrosse. But no, it was just great seeing them finally win that MAAC championship
Yep.
after 2019 was the last one. So it was great seeing them win one.
Club expectations this year for you?
National championship.
Okay, let's do it.
National championship.
And then they went on to face the 16th ranked University of Delaware. They lost 25-10, but good experience all around. And
Yeah.
then for the women, they went 4-12 last year, 2-6 conference record. Not a ton of highlights as a team, but as you had mentioned, Carrie Gutenberger, she led the conference in goals. She was a All MAAC first team selection, All District, and achieved her 100th career point, goal, and draw all in that season. And then you had Kelly Trotta, who led the team in points with 67. She also recorded her 100th career goal, or point, I'm sorry. And Caitlin McNaboe was on the All MAAC rookie team. And the big storyline was that after 13 years and 90 victories, which are both the highest in the program, Jess Wilkinson, she stepped down at the end of the season. So what was that, or what did the team say about Wilkinson, if you were able to ask them? And what is the importance of Trotta, Gutenberger, Artenson, and the rest of the returners that are returning as graduate students?
Yeah, now I wasn't able to ask them their initial thoughts about losing Coach Wilkinson. It was more so just, me talking to 5 of the girls with Coach Keith, just asking some baseline questions, their thoughts on the season. So, I wasn't able to really get their raw reactions about Coach Wilkinson, but they're excited to be under Coach Keith now. I think that he brings an intensity to this team. He has great offensive coaching experience. He's had over a decade plus of coaching experience. His most recent tenure was an assistant coach with Kennesaw State, and they saw some pretty offensive explosions in 2022. The program saw its most goals scored in a season and wins. So I'm hopeful. They're hopeful, but on your question about the returners, these are the heartbeat of the team. We can talk about Carrie and Kelly and Olivia all we want, but it's like those players, those girls, they drive this team. And I also want to make reference to Delaney Hayes as well. She had a phenomenal season last year as well. I expect her to take another huge jump in her play, but it all comes down to how they move the ball on offense, because offense was really, really a struggle last year. They finished in the bottom half of almost all major offensive categories, which is why I'm hopeful that Coach Keith can really revitalize this offense, get the ball moving, get a lot of sticks on it, get some very, very nice shots. It was really the Kelly and Kerry show all last season. So
what are the things that you're going to be looking for the team to help out? Last year it was really just the grad students and Delaney that were carrying the offensive load. What this year are you looking for the team to take maybe a little bit of pressure off those girls, and then the rest of the team maybe being able to get some more assistance for them?
Yeah, there are a couple of juniors that really stick out to me. We have Chloe Burkhead, we have Santel as well. So we have some very good juniors who can really step up and really lighten the load. And the girls were very supportive about what Coach Keith has done. He's running new sets, new offensive plays to really work the ball around and get a lot of open shots instead of it just being more contested down the middle. And their biggest killer last year was drop balls and turnovers. Right. There was a lot of possession killers because of bad passes or bad catches. So they're really able to tighten it up. I've seen it in practice so far. So
That's good.
Keith, if I'm not mistaken, he was a Marist guy, no?
Guy's
Yeah.
a beast.
Yep.
Yeah, a two-sport.
Yeah. He was really good.
Dual sport athlete at Marist. He
awesome.
was a conference tournament MVP.
Stud.
Yeah, he's as we say, dog. On the flip side, the men's lacrosse team has, I would say, the opposite of what the women's lacrosse team has, because they're losing their graduate students and leading point leaders, Jojo Pareca, Jameson Embry, and James Lyons. How are they going to handle losing those three?
I think they're going to handle it pretty well. Obviously, those three guys were the heartbeat of the team. They were scoring like 3 goals a game, let's say, and they were scoring at will sometimes. But I think the younger guys are going to step up, and I think that they have been there before. Peter Murray was a second liner. Drew Anderson was a freshman all MAAC, I believe. Vinny Patrico had 7 goals, and they were all on the man up. But I think those three are going to be the heartbeat of their year, and they're going to be really big focal points for their offense this season.
Yeah, for sure. Speaking of the big year that you're hoping for them to have, I think there's a lot of people who are in agreement with you, expecting a lot from this Red Foxes program, as they were placed second, as you had previously mentioned. I think they were 3 votes shy of first place, correct?
They were 1. It was 5 and 4, so the joke was that the Marist hater didn't vote for them.
Okay, so they placed first, or Siena placed first with 92, Marist placed second with 91.
Yeah,
and then five first place votes to 4 first place votes. What was your reaction to the preseason poll?
I was really surprised not at the preseason poll. I think that is a little accurate due to the fact that they don't have their top 3 goal scorers. I was surprised that none of them got any preseason awards.
Right.
For the MAAC, even a Jake DC, Josh Balquissel, I was surprised that none of them got awards. But it's just fuel that adds to the fire. For them.
For sure. The team that had the most players on the All MAAC preseason team was Quinnipiac. They had 4. Can you talk a little bit about what Quinnipiac brings to the MAAC conference?
They bring fight every single game that they play, especially against Marist. Their games are decided usually by 3 or 4 goals, maybe even 2 sometimes. But they will always be a good test for Marist. And I think that I don't know if their faceoff guy graduated or not, but he was very good. But I think that they bring a good fight to Marist every time they play, and I think that that's definitely one of their biggest rivals.
And then behind Siena and Marist was Manhattan, who has the co-preseason player of the year, Kyle Gukwa.
Very good.
What are your thoughts on Gukwa and Manhattan as a team?
Gukwa is a phenomenal player. He was there 2 years ago when they beat Marist here in the first round of playoffs in overtime, 12-11 or something. But he is a very good player, and he could score at will as well.
And then they also, Mount St. Mary's is in 4th.
That was good.
And they have the other co-preseason player of the year, Mitchell Dunham.
Long pole.
What are your thoughts on Dunham as well as the Mount St. Mary's team?
Yeah, sorry to interrupt.
No, you're good.
He's a stud.
Very excited.
I saw him play last year, and he flies around the field.
Yeah.
He reminds me of a former Marist guy in JT Roselle, who is actually at Hofstra, who they get to play this year, so it's going to be fun.
And then if you were to pick preseason All MAAC players from Marist to be on the actual team, even though there were 0 that were selected, who would those players have been?
Josh Balquissel is definitely got to be up there, and Jake DC as well, in my opinion.
Gotcha. Jimmy, I know it's a little bit raw for your preseason poll, being that it came out this morning. We were all in our meeting, and we were like, yeah, Jimmy's got to wait until the preseason poll is done so he could finish his preview, and I was looking to see if it had come out yet. And I couldn't even find it on the actual MAAC website. I was just looking at the press releases that other colleges had put out. So now that it is out, even though it may be a little bit raw, what was your initial reaction? I don't know how much you've been able to actually analyze it, but what's your reaction to the preseason poll for the women's?
Yeah, I haven't really been able to really sit down and analyze it and go over some of the other teams. But I mean, they were placed 9th out of 10 teams. I mean, I expected that at least. I was expecting them to be in the bottom tier, especially with them finishing last in the conference the past 2 seasons. So yeah, I mean, They definitely have some work to do. I think that they were only one vote behind Manhattan, so it's definitely like they're in that range. But it's Ryder, Marist, and Manhattan all on the bottom, and then it's like a good like 15 votes ahead to the next team. So they're comfortably in the bottom.
Yep.
But I think that the sky's the limit with this team.
Siena making another top 2 appearance for the women's. They're at number 2. So they have Siena in first for the preseason in the men's, and then second in the women's. It appears as though Rachel Crane is the preseason player of the year from Niagara, and Marist only has one preseason All MAAC team player, which we can all guess is Carrie Gutenberger. The rest of the list, it looks pretty well balanced. I would say there's a decent amount of Niagara players, and then a few Fairfield players, Canisius and Siena, and then one Iona and one Marist. But moving away from the preseason poll, I want to ask about both of your previews. They're going to be, I would assume, released by the time that this podcast is released. So what was within the previews that you both wrote about?
Yeah, I can start. Mine came out Monday, and the main emphasis that I found within the whole team was that the younger guys stepping up, obviously. But I feel like in lacrosse as a whole, the sport really doesn't focus on defense and how like they highlight the defense is all about scoring. But I feel like this defense and the short stick defensive midi group has a lot of experience, actually. Aidan McCaffrey, who's very good.
His name's Aidan.
Yeah. So. Yeah. He came out of Delaware, didn't really play much at Delaware. He came here, and he was just clamping down on like all like their top defenders. Their top.
Was last year his first year here? Or?
Yeah, last year was his first year here. He came from Delaware, didn't really play much, but
right. Delaware's still a good program.
Yeah, he got a new opportunity here. Him and Kyle Stofko obviously graduated. He was a starter for like 3 or 4 years. He was very good. But they returned a Kurt Wessner, who I believe will be their number 1 guy. They returned Kurt.
In terms of scoring?
No, on defense.
Okay, got you.
Guarding their number 1 guy.
Right.
Aidan McCaffrey, who's probably going to guard the number 2 or the number 1, depending. And that third spot is really open. There's just one freshman that I've seen play in high school who's here now. I played against him in high school for 3 years. His name is Michael Casano. And he is from Long Island, so he's got to be good at lacrosse. Right? Yeah. I think that he can come in and make an immediate impact as well, because they're going to need guys who are freshmen, sophomore, to step up.
Right. Okay. So defensive intensity, and you think that's going to carry the team to where they want to go?
And goal scoring, yes, and goal scoring as well. In between the pipes, the Red Foxes, I believe that Noble Smith will be starting. He started around like 6 or 7 games last year. He obviously got replaced by the tournament, all-tournament team member, and Daniel O'Mara. So I think that Smith has seen some games. He's going to come back, and he's going to be stellar for the Red Foxes.
Jimmy, what do you have from your preview?
Yeah, I was really focusing on like the offense, especially like the lack thereof last year. But what the girls were really reiterating to me when I was interviewing them yesterday for my preview was they need to work together to make sure that it's 7-on-7 on the offensive side of the ball.
Right.
They understand that it was really just Kerry and Kelly, doing everything. But they're willing to get everyone else on offense the ball. They're willing to work it around. They're willing to, take a step back and let some of these other girls really, cook.
Yeah.
And especially with what Coach Keith has really been able to put and implement into this offense so far, it's like they're buying in. They're buying into his new system. They like what he's putting forth right now.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to see what this team can do.
The disappointment the last 2 years, I feel like you almost have to buy in. And
Definitely.
But I guess that's one of the takeaways from the players that you've gotten. Let's dive deeper into takeaways that you've gotten from both the coaches and the players that you talked to. What are some memorable things that they said and things that stuck out to you? I know we've talked about it a little bit, but if there's anything else that you want to mention about takeaways from the coaches and the players, go ahead.
I can start. Yeah. I was interviewing Kurt Wessner, and he said, I'll read his quote. He said, this one, in reference to their new defensive group, and this one was very special because it's so changed up. Out of all the years I've been here, this is the biggest change in the room when it comes to goalies, defenders, and pulls. So I think that on the men's side, in the defensive group, they've all bought in, and I think they're going to show that this season.
Yeah, I got a couple of quotes from Kelly and Carey. I mean,
Sure.
Kelly had said that I think that we have a lot of underclassmen and other fellow upperclassmen that are really excited for the new techniques that we've been talking about, the plays and sets that we've set up, because it's not just focused on one player or two players. Like, it really takes all 7 of us to beat another 7 girls. And Carey, she said, yeah, I think that that's also something that's brand new too. Everyone is feeling a new role with the offense that we're in, so it's like the level spread everywhere. So it's not just Kelly and I putting it away.
It's interesting.
Yep.
We'll see if that occurs on the first game that they play.
Yeah.
You've talked a lot about, both of you have talked at length about Keith. Keith Detledge.
Detell.
Yeah.
A lot of random
Detell.
consonants in there. And they also have a new assistant coach, Juliana Durso. That one's a little bit easier to pronounce. But starting with Keith, Marist graduate, dual sport athlete at Marist in soccer and lacrosse. He has the most goals scored in Marist men's soccer history. And he was the assistant coach at Kennesaw State for 2 years, like you had mentioned, and the head coach at SUNY New Paltz for 5 seasons.
Yep.
And then we've got assistant coach Juliana Durso. She was a goalie at Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati, and she holds the program record for career wins and saves in a season. Talking to them so far, I don't know if you've had any interaction with Durso, but talking to them, what are they kind of like?
Yeah, I wasn't able to chat with Durso, but Keith, for the limited time that I was able to talk to him yesterday, I mean, he's a very fiery guy. He's coming into a program that has been on the losing end for the past couple of seasons, so he knows he has a lot of pressure. But I mean, he's very level-headed. I mean, like I said, when I was able to talk with him, I mean, like, he's a very nice guy, very chill. He's very charismatic as well. He knows what he's talking about.
Yep.
He has a lot of love for his team already, so it's very, very good to see.
Is there anything to be said about being a Marist grad and now coming back here, like having pride in where you're from?
Yeah, no, I mean, what I asked Keith about that actually,
Okay.
and he was very happy when I was asking him about that. If you don't mind, I have a quote that
Yeah, of
that he
course.
said. So when it
Rip it, bro.
Yeah, when it first popped up and it was an option for me at the time, I was really excited. This place has a lot of memories, good memories for me, and just being back in this area, which has created all those memories. It's just awesome to be back, and I want to share those moments, and hopefully they get to do that this year.
That's
So
Yeah.
sounds good to
Yeah,
me.
I've actually spoken to some of the girls, and they've all bought into what Keith is saying as well.
They've been raving about him already. So
It
they're very
sounds to me
excited.
like this could be a sleeper team.
Hey, don't sleep.
Was it 6 teams make it in the tournament?
I
for the
believe so,
girls?
yeah.
I think they can sneak in as number
We'll
6.
see.
Hopefully.
We'll see.
Hopefully.
For the men's lacrosse team, another storyline is Josh
Balkersell.
Balkersell. A lot of weird last names
don't
in
hate.
lacrosse. What is up with that? Anyway, he was awarded the jersey number 34. Obviously, we saw the coaches wearing number 34 at the MAAC championship last year. Did you happen to talk to him about wearing number 34 and what that means?
Yeah, I spoke to him. I didn't put it in my preview. I actually did. But he said that when I asked him, he's obviously very grateful to wear that prestigious number. But he said that I see Eddie Coombs traits in all of the other 3 guys that I'm sitting with as well. So he mentioned
reference
how
to-
grateful he is. He's humble.
In reference to
To Eddie Coombs.
no, the 3 other guys,
And the captain, sorry.
which are
Eddie Capone, Kurt Wessner, and Keenan Derive.
awesome.
Very deserving.
Yeah.
So
He's very deserving as well. He shows a lot of heart.
yeah, the it's EC34 is kind of the
Yep.
I guess headline that they're going with, and they presented Josh with the jersey number 34 to honor the legacy of Eddie Coombs, and there was a team meeting, I guess, where Tina and Eric Coombs were there presenting it to Josh, which is obviously super special. And it represents the outstanding characteristics that Coombs showed every day with passion, determination, energy, and being a great teammate and member of the community. Eddie passed away in a car accident in 2011, just before the start of his sophomore year, and was a well-respected member of the college community by staff and students. So I think obviously super special that
Absolutely.
they're doing that, and I wanted to make sure that it was mentioned.
Yeah, most definitely.
Now we can move on to, a lot of them have probably been mentioned already throughout the pod so far. Players to watch. Who do you guys have? I'll start with headline players, and you can talk at length about each of those guys and girls.
Yeah, no, I'll start. I mean, I can't keep saying it enough, but Carrie, Kelly, those two are my absolute players to watch. I mean, like I said, they combined for almost 100 goals last season, so definitely keep an eye out. I wanna turn my attention to senior goalie Miranda Lopes as well. I mean, she did have a rough go of it last year because their defense wasn't that great. You know, they were last in save percentage, last in goals allowed.
Right.
So I mean, she was getting peppered in net, but it was also goalie by committee last year. But now it's her position solely alone. The girls are buying in with her. She's playing phenomenally. I mean, Kelly was telling me that she had a great quote about Miranda saying that, like, you know, it's annoying when she's stopping all of us in practice, but I mean, we have all of our support behind her.
That's awesome.
And also, I mean, like I said, some of these juniors really stand out to me. Alana Tavares, Chloe Burkhead, Sophia Georgopoulos. I mean, like, all these juniors really are going to be able to step up and take a lot of the pressure off the grad students and seniors.
Yeah.
I think that if the Red Foxes want to have the same success as they had last year, it all starts at the Face-Off X with Dylan Waddell. And Dylan Waddell and Matt Fermo were basically like the two-headed monster for that team. They both had almost a 50% face-off win percentage, and that was good for fifth in the MAAC. But I think that if they want to have the same success, it all starts with the Face-Off X.
All right, awesome. So those are the headline players. If you want to go a little bit more into what Kelly and Carrie do well, because we've said that they're really good. They're really good.
Yeah.
What is it about them that makes them so good?
Yeah, so Carrie is just an offensive powerhouse. I mean, it's like her ability to dodge all of her defenders is unmatched. She's super quick with the ball. I mean, like, she was breaking ankles left and right last season. There was this one highlight play where she spun off of a girl, did a nice little sidearm flick into the back of the net. It was disgusting to watch.
Yeah.
But Kelly is also a very high power on offense, but she knows how to facilitate. She is phenomenal with her passes. I mean, it's like, yeah, I know I mentioned it earlier. There was a lot of drop passes. But Kelly, I mean, like, she knows how to find the open girl. She knows how to, control the offense, control the pace of play. So they're a very good dynamic between those two.
I was figuring out some technical
Yeah,
stuff
I can hear that.
as Jimmy was giving those explanations, and rightfully so, because those two girls are incredible players. What about the sneaky? Oh, what's up?
I can give you one as well. The
For-
headliners.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me
Josh Barkersell. He's played on the Puerto Rican national team. I watched
saw
him
that,
on ESPN. The kid's a stud. He's probably one of the shiftiest lacrosse players I've ever seen. He's going back to his normal position now that JoJo Parker graduated. On attack, he's going back, and I think he can give you like a 30-goal season.
All right.
30, 40.
Is that your prediction?
A 30-goal season.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
He's good.
And then what about sneaky contributors? Who is not being talked about that you think should be for both men's and women's? Whoever wants to take that first, go right ahead.
Yeah. Caitlin McNaboe. That's who I'm looking out for. I mean, she was already All MAAC rookie team last year, but I mean, I think that she's going to be coming in and immediately contributing right away. She's going to be starting all 16 games. That's my prediction too. I feel like that she's going to come in. She's going to fit right alongside Kelly and Carrie and the rest of the offense as well.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, like for a rookie year, she was playing phenomenally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mentioned her earlier, and she was on the All MAAC rookie team. I think as long as she continues to develop, which I think is interesting when you have a new coaching staff, because they are also new to who McNaboe is and all the rest of the players, quite frankly. Like, development may be something that doesn't come naturally, but hopefully with the two new head and assistant coaches, that will not be a problem.
Yeah.
And then, Danny, what do you have?
So I have. We spoke earlier about the top 4 goal scorers, and one of them being here, and that one is Jake Deasy, who had 31 goals last year, 3 assists, which was good for 34 points. So I think that he's going to stay on the left side, obviously, because he's a lefty, and they're going to try to feed him as much as possible because he's shown that he can rip the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah, awesome. This thing is a little bit interesting, I guess, mostly because of how many people are graduating. But I was looking into the archive history in the record book. There are some players for both the men's and women's lacrosse team that are trying to break records. So I'm going to ask you guys about whether or not you think the record will be broken, and then how far up the list you think they can get. So we'll start with men's. There's two players that I found in the record book. Dylan Bedell, who you had mentioned, he's currently at 155 ground balls, and a repeat of 84 ground ball season would put him third all time. Do you think he reaches that? And if so, will he go above that or just stay around 84?
I think he can definitely jump ahead in the leaderboard. He did it last year. He was winning the clams, and then he was also getting the ground balls, which was very good for the team. So, yeah, the team ranked second in ground balls per game last year. So, yeah, I think he can get there.
All right, and then Aiden McCaffrey, he currently is at 30 caused turnovers, and a repeat of a 30 caused turnover season would put him second all-time, which is crazy because he is what class is he in right now?
He's a junior.
Right. So, and I believe did he play his freshman year?
At Delaware, no, he didn't play
Right.
that much.
So, I mean,
Play at
in
all.
one season to be already able to be at second all time is kind of insane. And then he also needs 34 to be first all time. So, do you think he gets that this year? And he obviously will get it as a senior.
Yeah.
But this year, do you think he's going to be able to get that?
I think he can most likely repeat the 30 caused turnover season. He's going to be guarding their premier guys on the other side of the ball for the other team. So, yeah, I mean, if he keeps playing the way he's playing, yeah, he can most definitely get there.
What about him is able to cause turnovers by his opponents? What does he do defensively?
He is one of the most nagging defenders on Marist, in my opinion. He throws awesome checks. He throws some crazy checks that I've never seen before. But yeah, just the way he just makes the player on the other team uncomfortable.
So you'd take him as one of
Yes.
your defensemen on the club team?
Yes, please, please.
And then moving to the women's team, there's a few more than there is for the men's, but that's because there's a lot more returners than there are for the men's team. So we have Kelly Trotta, and she has quite a few. She's currently at 32 assists, and she needs 21 to be top 10. Currently at 78 goals, needs 22 to reach 100 and the top 10. And she's currently at 110 points and needs 33 more points to be in the top 10. So of those, which of those do you think are obtainable for Trotta?
Can I say all of them?
Yeah, of
Yeah,
course.
no, I
Yeah.
100% believe that she can reach all of those. I mean, like she had 45 goals, 22 assists last year. That's good for 67 points. I mean, even if I talk about her taking a little bit of a backseat on the offensive side, she could still get to that 20 goal mark, 20, 25. And if she's going to be more of a facilitator, I could totally see her getting around 30 assists this season. I absolutely could.
So yeah, she'll be in the top 10 for all three of those categories, and that would obviously be individually a very successful season. But I'm sure they are all more focused on team success rather than individual success. But with that being said, Carrie Gutenberger is all over the record books. She's currently at 107 goals, which, with a repeat of the 51 goal season she had last year, would put her fourth all time. And she can reach second with 55 goals, which is 4 more goals than she scored last season. She's currently at 140 points, needs 3 more to be top 10, and a repeat of a 63-point season from last year would put her third all-time, just ahead of Pamela Brown, who was 1998 to 2001, and she is in fourth place at 201 points. And then we've got 110 draw controls, and 40 additional draw controls would put her at third place after the season. Haley Wagner and Jamie Romano are way ahead of her at 573 and 268, so I doubt that she'll be able to get there, but third place is definitely obtainable. So for all of those from Gutenberger, which ones do you think are obtainable for her?
Yeah, I feel like definitely not the draw controls, especially with Caitlin McDeboe being, the premier draw control player. But I mean, goals, I could totally see it. I mean, regardless, like she's gonna get hers anyway. If the offense becomes stagnant, just give it to her and let her go to work. So I could totally see that happening.
55 for second?
It's
lot.
it's
of
definitely
goals.
I mean, and I thought 51 was a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. So I'm not gonna rule it out, but it's definitely, I feel like she'll be more around like the high 30, low 40 range of goals if she's gonna take more of a back seat and let the offense go to work.
Yeah, I mean, like that's like almost like a crazy number to
Yeah.
like expect someone to
Yeah.
have, but
Yeah.
she's done it before, so you definitely can't rule it out.
Yeah,
at
no,
this
I'm
point.
100% not ruling it out.
Definitely not.
And then for Olivia Arntzen, she's currently at 30 assists, and she needs 23 to be top 10. She had 20 assists as a junior, took a little bit of a step back with only 10 as a senior. Do you think 23 is obtainable for her to reach the top 10?
From what I'm seeing, I think she had like 16 last year, if I'm not mistaken.
It could be.
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, again, like I'm gonna keep harping on this. Like, if they want to get everyone else involved on the offense, she's gonna be just that second facilitator beside Kelly Trotta. So I feel like that she can totally reach that assist mark.
And the funniest one to me, I mean, it's similar to McCaffrey with just one season being played. McNabo is at 59 draw controls, and a repeat of last season would already put her fourth place all time, only as a sophomore. So do you think, where do you think that number lands? Do you think she gets fourth, maybe a little bit higher than 59? Where does that number you see it at?
After this season, I mean, she's a stud on the draw control. She's her and Carrie are easily the best two on the team. But I mean, like I feel like that's a lot asking for her to repeat a 59 draw control season. But I could totally see her staying around the low 50 range, probably high 40. But she's absolutely going to be in that top three. Like
Even so, I mean,
like
as a sophomore, you're already in the record books.
It's absurd.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, no.
Let's look at the games that are on this upcoming schedule. Unless you have anything, are you good?
Yeah, I'm ready for the schedule.
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's do it. What are the games that you guys have to look forward to? Which ones are you looking at?
I absolutely can't wait for the game against Jacksonville in a week from a Saturday. I actually can't wait for that game. Jacksonville
So
was
a week
ranked,
after the opener.
Yeah,
Okay.
on the 17th. Jacksonville was ranked as high as 8th in the country last year. They went there. Their streaming service for me to watch was just horrible, so I could barely see the game or the score. But yeah, I think it's one of the first times coming here, so I think it's going to be an awesome game to look out for, as well as the Hofstra and the UMass games, just to get games under a CAA conference, which in my opinion is pretty comparable to a MAAC conference.
I think that says something about Jacksonville coming here, too,
Yeah.
because normally if it's a bigger program, like Marist had to travel to Notre Dame for basketball, and typically Marist is going to be the ones that are traveling, being that they're the smaller school, but Jacksonville being willing to come here for a game, I think says something about the pristine level that the men's lacrosse program's at.
Yeah, they've had their number actually all time. Last year was the first time that they've ever lost to Jacksonville. They were 3-1.
Wow.
All time against Jacksonville. And another game I can't wait for is the ESPNU game against Siena on Wednesday, April 10th. Hopefully, Brick can let me out of class a little early so I can go watch the game.
I bet you could convince them.
I bet probably, but yeah, I really can't wait for that game. Under the bright lights at Tenney Stadium on national television.
Yep.
The team's fired up for that one for sure.
Yeah, that's going to be a rematch of the MAAC championship and the preseason number 1 versus the preseason number 2. Obviously, we'll see where they stand as that rolls around. And then, Jimmy, what are the women's games that you're looking forward to?
Yeah, so the one that stands out to me right away is the University of Oregon game. Although they didn't have a great season, they finished under 500 in the Pac-12. I mean, it's a Pac-12 school.
Right.
Not a lot of teams can say that they're going across the country to play some of these high-profile conference teams. And this will be the 5th time they're matching up. They're 1-4 all time. I mean, the last time they played was 2016. They only lost by 4. So, I mean, granted, it's been almost 10 years since the last time they've played.
I'm curious to know who put together that schedule, whether it was already made for Keith or if Keith put that together himself.
I think Keith put that together because they're playing UConn too, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And they're another storied program. They've lost by a lot last year. I think they played them last year.
Yeah, they were finished.
I think it was Keith.
UConn was 16th in RPI poll last season.
Thank you, Dandy. That was the next team that I was
You're
going to
welcome.
point out.
So what about the UConn game is exciting?
Again, it's another high-profile school, and it's a lot closer to home this time. I mean, granted, they're going to be at UConn, but I'm going to try and make it out to that game. Honestly, I'm gonna try and drive down and go because I've been to the stadium. Yeah, I've been to the stadium before. I was at a UConn football game with Brickley, but no, I mean the ability to go and play some of these high-profile schools, although. We'll see what the final score is for those games. It's still they get you tested for the MAAC because it's very high profile teams with all this high scholarships and recruiting and all that stuff. So you get to you get battle hardened before your conference starts.
Yes, definitely. And then let's look at the first game of the season, the openers for both teams. You can't wait?
I can't wait.
Okay, so who do they play on Friday, February 9th?
They play Bucknell. February 10th.
Yeah, Saturday, February 10th.
Yeah, they played Bucknell, and in last year's matchup against, actually, the team calls it their Patriot League rival. Marist won its first game ever against Bucknell in school history, 14-11. And I know the team's just fired up and just can't wait to get back out there.
Yeah, I was talking to one of the assistant coaches. I don't think he even knows my name, and quite frankly, I can't remember his.
Dave or JD?
JD. We're always in the weight room
Professional
together.
lacrosse player.
Yeah, we're always in the weight room like around the same time
Yeah.
because we have our club baseball lifts, and he's always in there.
Yeah.
And I'm always talking to him, and he's a great guy. He was talking about the Bucknell game. He said that it'll be an interesting challenge, but he thinks that they're definitely up to the task. I don't know. I think he said that Bucknell was like kind of mediocre.
Yes. But and do you know much about JD?
Yeah, I know he was a pro.
Stud.
But
Goalie.
yeah, like I said, I don't like. We just happen to see each other all
Yeah.
the time, and it's like, oh hey, but I don't actually know your name, but I'm still
Yeah.
gonna say hey.
So, what's interesting about a Bucknell is that they're returning their top 3 attackmen, and who's leading that in Connor Davis. He had 5 goals against Merrimack last week, and a Dutch Furloin is very good, and Michael Mayer are very good, and that trio accounted for 59 of the team's goals last year. And Furlong and Davis are both in their 3rd year as regular starters as well. Bucknell was picked 7th in the preseason poll, which isn't very good, and they lost to Merrimack like 4 goals, 14-10.
By the way, JD's
Future
a big fan of you. I was like,
He's
yeah,
awesome.
Danny's been doing stuff, and he's like, oh yeah, that guy's
awesome.
He's that dude.
Yeah, he's sick.
The day before that, however, will kick off the lacrosse season. The women's team plays on Friday, February 9th. They play the University of New Hampshire. What are you looking at in that game, Jimmy?
Yeah, the Wildcats. I mean, they finished 5-10 last year. They're kind of just middle of the road. I mean, I'm looking at some of their offensive statistics right now, and it's like they were pretty much around the same like goal scoring wise. So their offense wasn't that great. The defense was a little bit better. They allowed less than 200 goals compared to Marist, which allowed over 250. So it's definitely going to be an interesting game to watch. I mean. Yeah, I mean, you don't really get to be able to play a lot of these other teams and like other bigger conferences.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
Yeah,
No, you keep going. Are you almost done?
yeah, no,
Okay.
you got something?
Yeah, the team announced their captains about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, awesome.
Breaking news.
Yeah, well,
Delaney Hayes,
yeah,
I think they
whoa,
can
whoa,
interview
whoa,
them.
Let him do it.
Sorry.
He already knew.
Oh, you knew?
To be fair.
oh, did you say Delaney?
Yeah.
Oh, I was not told that Delaney was going to be a captain.
They got 5 of them.
Sneaky.
5 of
No,
them.
I knew the 5, but I was told a different 5.
All
Oh,
right.
shit.
Wait, let's do this instead. Your 5 that you were told, and then
Yeah.
the actual 5.
Okay,
Yes.
Delaney Hayes.
Uh,
You didn't know about that.
nope.
Georgopoulos. And Sophia
Yep. Yep.
Kelly Trotta.
Yep.
And Chloe Burkhead.
Yep.
And Gutenberg.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so-
just one's different.
Which is
I-
weird they have 5, which is
5
weird.
is a lot.
5's
yeah.
a lot.
I was telling you that earlier. I feel like 5's
Yeah.
a large number.
So, yeah.
Well, that was cool. A little live
Got you,
breaking news.
Happened like 10 minutes ago. Yeah.
What are the expectations you both have for the first games?
You gonna go?
I think that it's going to be a. I have a feeling that it's going to be pretty close all the way through. I mean, like with both offenses not being that great last season, I feel like, especially with Marist under a new like offensive scheme, I
Yep.
feel like they could potentially turn it into a pretty decent game.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's going to be more low scoring. It's going to be a lot of like missed shots, a lot
Yeah.
of potential turnovers and
Takes
such.
time to figure
Yeah,
out
yeah,
what
no,
they're doing.
for sure.
Right.
I could totally see Marist taking this one though. I absolutely could.
Want to know start?
Same here. I mean, they should steamroll. Oh, fuck no. But not steamroll. They're like an okay team. But and this team, if they come out with that firepower, they're definitely more talented than Bucknell.
All right. Awesome.
1-0.
Let's go quickly to everything else that's happening with the current state of Marist athletics. Let's talk a little bit about the basketball teams, the men's and women's
Nice.
teams. What are you guys impressed with, maybe discouraged by for the men's and women's teams?
I'll start with the men's team. They started out a 2-0. They're now a 6-5 in MAAC play. They've lost some games that, in my opinion, they should have won. But I think that if this team continues to play and they don't turn over the ball, then they're just gonna be fine. They're gonna be like a 5 or 6 seed, in my opinion, in the MAAC tournament.
Jimmy?
I mean, from their like turbulent start of the
right.
season.
7-2.
Yeah, I mean, that Notre Dame game was really the turning point of the season because they've been kind of on a slump since then. I mean, I feel like that they can still be pretty hot going into the MAAC tournament. I mean, I believe they're above 500 right now.
Yeah,
still.
and
Yeah.
the rest of their
11 and 9.
schedule, of their schedule is, I think, a little bit weaker.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
So I mean, they can definitely take some games, finish above 500 going into the tournament. They could get a pretty decent seed, and I mean, like they can definitely make some magic work like they did last year in the tournament.
Yeah, definitely.
That'd be cool to see again.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that was awesome. Shout out your boy.
Patty G.
There you go. How do you
Saw
know him?
He's from my high school.
Of course he is.
He's a good kid.
Yep. He's
I'm glad he's doing well.
currently with the Long Island Nets, and I think the Nets should definitely bring him up.
I'm waiting. I've been waiting. No, Clowney gets called up. Whitehead gets called up.
Isaiah Whitehead?
Or
Derek Whitehead.
Derek.
Isaiah Whitehead's an older player, but he
Clowney
was
gets
with
called
the
up,
Nets at some
up
point.
and down a lot.
Yeah. Well,
I'm waiting.
Give Patty a shot, you know?
Yeah,
Patty guards.
Please.
And then for the women's team, what have you guys seen from them?
A lot.
This team,
A lot of missed
yeah.
shots.
Yeah, no, I don't mean to cut you off,
No,
Danny. I'm
you're
sorry.
good, dude.
No, I mean, yeah, definitely a lot of missed shots, but also just the injury bug has
Yep.
bit this team
Horrible.
hard. They've been missing so many key players throughout the season to injuries. It's really tough to see. I mean, Kiara has been dealing with some nagging injuries all season. Maeve has been out for the entire season, basically.
She's done.
Yeah, she's done. So it's like, and just key players throughout the season have been missing games because of injury, and it really sucks.
And even
because-
if they're not missing games, they're like playing through injury.
Yeah,
They're obviously
yeah.
not
Horrible.
100%.
Yeah, they're banged up like regardless.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, I applaud them for continuing to play hard and give everything that they do have, regardless of whether or not they're 100%. But yeah, what do you have for the women's?
Their next two games are pretty cool storylines. I don't know if you're going on Saturday, but they have that breast cancer awareness game, the Booster Club. I know one of my organizations is going to set up a table there. But,
Which one's that? Shout them out.
Theta Delta Chi. And tomorrow morning they have a game at 11 a.m. with against a 19-1 Fairfield team.
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, the last time they played, they were leading
They
for
were
a
in
little
it.
bit during
They
the
were,
game.
yeah,
So
I remember
mean,
that.
yeah, I mean, like,
Lost by 14.
yeah. And they were up at one point.
They were.
Fairfield received the second most votes from others outside of the top 25
Yeah.
for the AP
Yeah.
poll.
Yeah, they're very
Yeah.
good.
And then let's talk a little bit about the new football coach and the transfers that are in here. I'm sure Dan Allback would be. He's probably
Dan.
He's probably. I don't know what he's doing right now if he's listening to this because he wants. I mean, I would imagine that he probably calls in as if the show's live.
Yeah.
To give his thoughts because he wants to give them so badly. And I believe he's coming out with a newsletter soon, so be on the lookout for
I've been
that.
waiting for a newsletter.
Oh, we all have. But you know, time difference and all the
6
things
hours.
that are going on in Italy. It's tough to make sure you get those out.
Their schedule just came out too.
Yeah, so that's more content for him to add into that. What do you guys think about the Coach Willis and the transfers that he's bringing in?
So I'm gonna do a feature story for Center Field on Coach Willis. Hopefully next week do like
Sick
an interview.
plug.
Yeah, it's a good plug. But their schedule just came out, and there's a couple new teams that they're gonna end up playing, or just one new team in Lafayette, which I believe they're are they a bowl school?
Lafayette?
Yeah, might be.
They could be.
But I'm trying to see if they ever played them before. But I think that this he's gonna bring a new energy, a young energy.
Foxhole guys.
Foxhole guys, yeah. Marist is 0-6 against Lafayette.
Nice.
Their last game was 2008.
1-6, soon to be.
Hopefully, but I think that he's gonna bring a lot of energy. He's as Deion Sanders. He's bringing in his own luggage as well here. We've seen recruit from LSU, a quarterback, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And
He was a walk-on from LSU, walk-on quarterback, scout team quarterback.
Dowd, right?
Regardless of being a walk-on in a scout team, being able to make the LSU
yeah.
roster is something to be said there. And then he's pairing him up with his own Jamar Chase, another LSU wide receiver.
They're
He's
pretty
looking for a Joe Burrow-Jamar connection there, and we'll see, obviously, if that pans out in the FCS manner. And then there were also a few Delaware transfers. I think one from the linebacker
I heard he's a
position.
stud. I heard the kid's a stud.
And I was talking to some guys in the athletics department, and he said that like when they're doing the media day shoots for new recruits, they obviously put on the helmet and all the gear. He was like, these kids are nothing like the people we've taken pictures for in the past.
Cool.
They are so much bigger and compared to the years past, and it's just like obviously you need to be big and strong and fast in order to succeed at any level collegiately. And I think Willis bringing in bigger guys is definitely going to be something for them to improve upon. But
this
what do you
team
think,
this team needed size.
Yeah,
I mean
definitely.
they were definitely lacking in size in a lot of positions. I mean their offensive and defensive linemen were okay, but I feel like some of their defensive linemen were pretty small, pretty on the shorter side, and their linebackers they were definitely missing some height there and just size. In general.
Tyler Usher's still a stud though.
Oh yeah,
Shout out Randolph, New Jersey. That's my guy.
There you go.
Yeah, he's from my hometown. So there you go.
Have you ever seen Mike Willis? Like in person? He's ginormous.
I saw him walking around
looks like
McCann
Jimmy.
the other day. He's
if I was like 6'6".
yeah, the guy
he's
is
a big
huge.
guy.
He was towering over me, and I was like, "Oh my god, who is
he's
that?"
a big guy. I heard he's a football nerd too. He's like a big football junkie.
Ivy League, so I would
Yeah,
assume.
Princeton.
Yeah, and
I think he actually said in his interview with Jeff Brault when they just got announced. He said that he had like a 9-to-5 job lined up, but he came back to be a graduate assistant at Princeton because how much he loved football.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, I think I recall listening to that when that came out.
Yeah, it was cool.
And speaking of the Ivy League, he's brought in assistant coaches from Ivy League, but not only from Ivy League. He's brought in coaches from kind of all over the place, which is why you're seeing recruits coming in and transfers coming in from different parts that you don't typically see from a Marist football program. As in years past, when Parody was at the helm, he did obviously a great job with his team. He was the longest tenured coach in, I think, NCAA history or something like that.
Oh, right, yeah, something like that.
Which is obviously it speaks to the success levels that he had. But it was primarily teams or players from the Northeast that he was recruiting. There wasn't really, and just the East Coast in general. There was no one from like further south and further west. But now we're seeing a little bit of, I guess you could call it diversity with the players, and they're coming from different places. So it should be interesting to see.
For
I'm,
sure.
I'm definitely excited to see what that brings.
I'm just excited to see new faces. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like
I'm
this
not
this football
You'll
team.
watch.
The football team just has been, I feel like, the same for a while. So
Yeah.
just even like seeing new coaches, seeing new players, seeing a new team on the schedule, just new. I feel like it's at least going to help you breathe like a breath of fresh air with this team.
Yeah, there's like out of like the 12 coaches, and 3 of them are returning from last year, and there's like 9 different guys.
Yeah.
So just bringing new faces is always good. A change is always good. So I hope they do well next year in Willis's first season.
Yeah. Parody did a great job.
Oh yeah, shout out Parody.
Yeah, shout out
he's,
Parody.
He's
a
a
good guy.
great guy. Obviously, I mean, like definitely a legend in the coaching world because of how long he did it and
for
the
sure.
standard that he held himself to and his team to. With that being said, we can wrap it up with just talking about what you guys, I guess, predict for. I know you predicted, but I would like a specific record and things like that. So what are your predictions for the entire men's lacrosse season?
So there's 14 games in the season, and 9-5, 8-6 for a total record, and then there's like 9 MAAC games, 8 MAAC games not including. I think they go like, let me see. They might break even, or they might, I think they're going to go above 500 in MAAC play.
Okay, and then come the tournament.
They're going to, I think that they can just win the whole thing again.
Repeat?
That it would be the first time under Wilkinson that they did that, but
Wow.
yeah, it'd be pretty cool just to see them go back and win the MAAC championship again.
Yeah, for sure. And then Jimmy, what do you think?
Yeah, so we got 16 games on our schedule and 9 MAAC games, 7 non-conference. But I mean, with figuring everything out, having a new coach, I feel like they could at least do better than last season. I mean, they finished 4-12 last season, 2-6 in the conference, I believe, something like that. So we could at least potentially go. Maybe scratch a couple of extra wins in the conference. Maybe grab another one here or there. It's definitely it's going to be like a feel out season.
Do you think they are around 9th place, which they replaced in the preseason
I
poll,
feel-
or higher?
I feel like they could at least potentially go like 7 or 6. Maybe they could totally. I could absolutely see them sneaking into the tournament as like the last seed.
Yeah, if everything clicks.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I mean, like again, only time will tell, especially how they're going to be able to click with his system in like actual play. So I could totally see like anywhere from 7 to 9.
Yeah.
And
Potentially 6.
And from what I've seen, I've watched a good amount of women's lacrosse. The team that stands out is Fairfield. This I don't know if they're the same
I
team.
believe they're number 1.
They're ridiculous.
They were number 1 by a long shot.
They are ridiculous. That team.
They've won 5 straight MAAC championships.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like the evil empire of women's lacrosse in the MAAC right
and
now.
usually women's lacrosse games tend to be more closer, and there's not any blowouts until every team in the MAAC plays Fairfield.
Wow.
Last year Fairfield beat Marist 20-4.
Yeah, I remember that game.
Yeah.
That's close.
What was the spread on that game? I gotta know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Fairfield is killing it right now in all the MAAC sports.
They almost won when they went into the tournament. Like they almost beat a Loyola, if I'm mistaken, if they played Loyola. But yeah, they're a very good team, not just in the MAAC. Like they're just a good team in general.
Yeah. All right. Awesome. Danny Destler, Jimmy Tsiantoulas. I appreciate you guys popping in for this episode of The Relay Throw. Obviously, go 49ers in the Super Bowl.
Go Niners.
Go Niners.
I have not listened to any Taylor Swift music this week, and if it has come up on my phone, I automatically skip it. Doesn't really have anything to do with her. No hard feelings towards Taylor, but I just...
Are you a big Taylor guy?
Not really, no.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. I think she has some good stuff.
Here we go.
Not all of her songs are good, but she has some decent stuff.
And Taylor's version, Aidan likes.
Well, yeah, because Scooter Braun's a fraud, and I don't really know much about it. I just know that's what the right thing to do. So, yeah, go 49ers. I wonder, speaking of music, because I know you're a Chris Stapleton guy, I wonder if this year's anthem will live up to his anthem. Probably not.
I almost started crying
Yeah,
when I was listening to that anthem. It was awesome. It was
Yeah.
It was probably the best national anthem that I've seen.
Electric.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's one word to
Dog.
describe it.
His
Yeah.
concert was awesome too.
You've been?
Yeah, I went in October. It was
Any
awesome.
concerts, Jimmy?
No.
Jimmy, come on, dude. And
Oh no! You know what? No. I was over at Saratoga in September. I went to Noah Khan.
Nice.
Dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good concert.
Robbed at the Grammys. Robbed.
Completely robbed.
All right. So that's been this episode of The Relay Throw. As I said before, go 49ers, Super Bowl weekend, and the lacrosse opening debut on February 9th for the women's, February 10th for the men's. And we will see you on next episode. Might be a little bit different this next episode. So
I hope so. I mean, I got some people that want to come on, so I hope either like an athlete or a coach,
or maybe
next
both.
time
Oh.
or maybe both. Let's leave it at that.
Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. See ya.